Hello everyone, good morning. I hope you're all doing great. I hope my audio sounds good. Hold on, that music was a little loud, wasn't it? There we go. That's better. Hello. All right. I hope everyone's doing well. That's what I was saying before the music went away. Who do we have here? Let's see. Hello to everyone. Literally everyone. Hello to Jet Screamer. We want to brunch, Knit and Crochet Tiger. Sim, hello. Good to see you as always. Pad Trans Woman, hello to you and to Aaron. Crystal Wright. Christopher Leo Daniels, hello. Holly Lyons and Deborah Battle, good to see you. Good evening to the rest of the friends. And Aiden Jack is here. Hello. Forestine, what a pretty name. Forestine, hello. Mad Yokai. Unholy Triforce is here with the Quentin Crisp quotes. That's hard to say. Insect Warrior Jojo, good to see you as always too. Some excitement for the music. Glad trying something new. It's always the same song every time, so I'm trying to shake it up a little. Sophia says the fruit hustle is what my friends and I call all of us piling hungover into the car to get brunch the morning after the gay bar. Excited for another live stream. Excited to have you here. Hello to Nevermore and Aaron Thor. King of Pointless, thank you so much for the tip. Can't say good luck with the video. Thank you so much. Well, I hope to see you around soon, King of Pointless. Mr. Brittle Queen, a pleasure. It's been a while. Good to see you. Kyle Baker, greetings from Gay Seattle. Hello, Kyle. Hello from one gay Seattle to another. And Frank Peter, Seattle here too. Wonderful. Good to see you. Did you all go to what was the cruise? There was a cruise last night. I can't remember the name, but Fetch, was that it? Fetch Northwest, I think, had their cruise last night. Or, alternately, did you go to the opening of the new subway station? Because it seemed like every queer person in Seattle was at Northgate for the opening of the new subway station yesterday. Hello to Little Geck. Good to see you, Little Geck. How are you? Admiral Quackenspiel, hello. Derek Moore says, love Sundays with Matt. Oh, thank you. I love Sundays with you, too. BT Dubs, there's a new video every single week over on Patreon. So if you want even more me, go over to my Patreon, patreon.com/MattBaum. Post a new bonus video there every Sunday. Or last week, every Monday. But usually every Sunday. Always happy to see Plain Simple Garrick, says Ms. Fenris. Hello to... Let's see, who else? Oh, goodness, it's just scrolled. Hello to Derek Moore. Hello to the Mad Yokai and Mario Mumenshans. Good to see you, too. Unholy Triforce says, hello from Montana. Montana, I love that we're slowly spreading. Okay, we started in Seattle. We're slowly spreading out across the West. Nathan Smith, Christopher Leo Daniels. Hello. And Matthew Strickland, and Terrence Hirsch, and Micah Miguel, Lachlan Gibson. You should do a video about we're in a gay relationship between Yogi Bear and Boo Boo. It's been a long time since I watched any Yogi Bear anything. Although I did watch a Mr. Magoo yesterday, and I have to confess, James, that Mr. Magoo cartoon, I think it's pretty funny. I'll tell you why I watched a Mr. Magoo yesterday. It was for a reason. It's for a reason, unlike most of the things I do. We'll talk in a second about the Magoo factor, ABC's Magoo test. Geck is petting a cat. I'm very happy to hear that, Geck. Does that mean, have you moved? I know you were going to move into the cat. Oh, no, wait. Was it your brother's place that had the cat? Now I can't remember. There was a cat in your life. I'm aware of that. Anyway, so the plan for today, speaking of cats, the plan for today is we're going to do a little live stream over here. Then we're going to hop on over to my new video premiering at noon that does feature a cat. And then after that, we're going to try something new. We're going to go over to Twitch for a new game. We're going to play Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, the 1989 DOS game starring everyone's favorite queer icon, Elvira. Do we know, how is she actually identifying? Has she said, is she bisexual? Is she queer? Is she pan? What is Elvira's, I don't know, category of choice? That's a weird way to phrase that. Anyway, hello to Joshua Cisco. Hello to Apathy. Cowboys are on. Oh, well, don't let me keep you from the Cowboys. McReese, hello to you. I did see that Seattle had a good sports today. I don't know what it really means, but I saw that the Mariners had a good day, I think. Twitch wants to show me trending topics in my area, and people seem to be very happy about the Mariners. So I'm happy about that. I will celebrate by watching the Gorton's Fisherman commercials from the 1990s that starred, what's his name, the guy who played the gay boyfriend on Alice. Insect Warrior Jojo says, I forgot to say happy Halloween. Also, I love Barney Miller. I stay on, midnight to watch on the Antenna TV channel. Yay! Well, if you like Barney Miller, you're going to love this. And even if you don't, I'm excited to introduce you to Barney Miller. This is a show that, for me and also for James, we were talking about how when we were growing up, it started just a little before we were born. And then it was one of those sitcoms that was just on, and we were like, oh, this stars a lot of grown-ups, and this seems like a grown-up thing, and there's no aliens or puppets on it, so it's probably not going to be interesting to me. So Barney Miller was just kind of a background thing that we didn't pay much attention to until I started watching recently, and I was like, oh, actually, this show's really good. So there's a bird out on the balcony. I want to keep an eye on him, make sure he's not bad. So yeah, Barney Miller, actually a really good sitcom. I mean, it was on for 8 years, so it'd have to be pretty good. Then again, a lot of bad shows are on for a long time. Anyway, real good, and a lot of gay characters. Like, a shocking number of gay characters for a sitcom of the 70s into the 80s. So anyway, this video is going to be all about that, and also about the forces that tried to stop them from having gay characters, and how they were able to defeat the network censors. Ooh. Unholy Triforce's partner in Seattle was at the station opening yesterday. Sent me pictures. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, so Seattle has a brand new subway station. It's very exciting. We're going to be getting something like one new subway station a year from now until the next, for like through the next decade. Or it's something like that. Like the subway network is expanding very quickly. Nathan says, do you wish to wish me a good morning, or is that a morning to be good on? Or is this a morning to be, or perhaps you mean to say you feel good on this morning? Oh boy. Honestly, I just hope that everyone's in good health. That's what I hope. I hope everyone's in good health. Forrestine saying hello from Manitoba. Maddie Yokai from Philly. Maddie Taylor is a former Matt myself. I'm Matt, now Maddie. Oregon Coast Way from Doan Dennison. It's really getting to fall where we are. I'm sure, I guess that's the case for everybody. But right now it's really, oh, the birds are screaming out there. It's really getting into the fall side of the year. It feels very nice in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, hello from the other side of the globe, says someone whose username I cannot possibly pronounce because it is in Russian. There is going to be a Russian character in the video that we are going to be watching today. So new video premieres at noon. So we're going to be hanging out here chatting for the next, 45 minutes or so. Then we're going to watch the premiere. Then we're heading over to Twitch to play some Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Kyle's been watching Elvira all weekend. Yeah, isn't she just the best? Cassandra Peterson, the actress's name. You may know her as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. There you go. There's a perfect example. That's somebody who was active and around when James and I were very young. And that's someone who seemed much more interesting to us, I think, as kids. Elvira never really crossed my radar that much, but it was clear to me this is somebody whose shtick is more my jam. If to mix metaphors there. She was my jam shtick. Elvira identifies as Elvira. She's in a group of her own. As a kid, I saw Elvira in Nightmare on Elm Street TV series, says Inchtech Warrior. Still remember the episodes where the boys would go and drag. Christopher was talking about Barney Miller. Yeah, Ron Glass looked fabulous. So, Barney Miller, one of the things that I discovered about it, never realized this, Ron Glass was on that show, a.k.a. Shepard Book from Firefly. I was watching it and I was like, why is he so familiar? Why do I know this character? And I'm like, oh yeah, this guy. Forrestine says Peterson released her memoir, Yours Cruelly, Elvira, Memoirs of the Mistress of the Dark. Revealed she'd been in a relationship with a woman for 19 years. Yes, indeed. Very exciting news about Elvira. I interviewed her briefly, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was when the Met Gala was doing the camp theme for that year. And so I interviewed her about what is camp. She is just the sweetest, loveliest person. I support everything that Elvira does. Literally everything. Pan Trans Woman says, I love Barney Miller. I went to college with Jack Sue's nephew. Okay, so we need to talk about Jack Sue. Stage name Jack Sue. His real name was Goro Suzuki. Fantastic actor and singer in the, 50s through 70s? No, 50s through 70s, yeah. I don't know if you can hear it. The Blue Jays out there are going bananas because I put some peanuts out there. Peanut butter and banana. Anyway, so Jack Sue, one of the other actors on Barney Miller, just a fantastic, hilarious, funny guy. Really deadpan, a kind of comedy that feels really modern to me, actually. Just a fantastic guy. And so anyway, very funny comic. Changed his name because it was at a time when Americans would not have been particularly receptive to a Japanese comedian or performer. So he changed his name to make it sound more Chinese because he knew that Americans wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Darkmoor says, good health to all. Yes, good health to you, to one and all. Oops, I'm trying to scroll, but I accidentally almost banned people from the chat. I don't want to do that. Lionel says, I leave Seattle. They finally decided to get expanding the rail system. Typical. Oh, my God. I mean, it's been in the works since forever. You go back to the 90s. Have you all seen this movie, Singles? 90s, very early 90s film, very Seattle, very early 90s. And one of the big jokes in there is this one traffic engineer who's like, we really should have a train in this city. And everyone's like, no. Now here we are 30 years later, and everyone's like, oh, actually, this is good. Hi from Tasmania, says John Nimitz. Hello to Tasmania. My stars. There was a period when I was in middle school where I was really deeply obsessed with Tasmania. I don't know why. I was deeply obsessed with Tasmania and like learned all about like the ecology and wildlife and meteorological stuff about Tasmania. I don't know. Like it was one of my weird fixations when I was like 12 or 13 maybe. Terrence says, I think because I was interested in Australia and I thought that it was really fascinating that there was a little piece of like Australia feels like a mysterious like part that's cut off from the rest of the world to me. This is how I felt at the time. Felt like a mysterious part of the world that was kind of cut off and unique. And then I was like, but there's another part that's like that to Australia that's cut off from Australia. I don't know. This is a long way of saying that Tasmania felt like the Australia of Australia. Terrence says, I used to live in Seattle in the 90s, graduated from Everett, needs to go back. So many hot military guys. Are there hot military guys? I feel like they're all, I don't know. I don't see that many here in Seattle. There's a military base outside of town. I don't know if they come into the city much. Maybe they do. Anyway. My mom grew up on Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and I only saw as a kid. Now 19, I got to see her movie, says Insect Warrior Jojo. I think I saw her movie many years ago, but I might be confusing with like a whole bunch of different things. I know that, oh shoot, what's her name? He's a Righteous Dude. What's that actress? She was in The Groundlings with Pee Wee Herman. She's in Barney. What? She's in Barney Miller's Day Off. Nope, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Gloria Steinem. No, that actress. What's her name? Oh, Sniggly Tooth. Klimblurg. Clambake. Garnafy Pildebottom. Oh shoot! I'm not gonna fill air with my brain breaking and forgetting important things. Christopher says Jack Sue is ahead of his time. Great in Flower Drum Song. Oh yeah, watch Flower Drum Song. I mean, perfect example of Americans really not knowing, not being able to differentiate between different cultures. Flower Drum Song. Great actor. Some lovely performers in that film. Mr. T-Bone says, I recognize Jack Sue from the Disney movie Return from Witch Mountain with Bette Davis and Christopher Lee. Wait, is he in that too? Oh my goodness. I haven't seen that in a while. I went to a costume exhibit a while back that had Bette Davis's dress from Return to Witch Mountain. Gorgeous, really beautiful, like houndstooth, like kind of very 70s, tweedy houndstooth looking pattern on it. Really beautiful. Bette Davis and Christopher Lee. What a pairing. Bette Davis, what would you know Bette Davis from? Gosh. Trying to think of what, like, kids, like, does she have some famous role that people would know her for? No, I'm trying to think of, like, Gen Z, what Gen Z would be like. Oh, yeah, Bette Davis from that famous role. I literally can't think of something that, like, some enduring cultural touchstone that the youth would recognize Bette Davis from. Christopher Lee, of course, Count Dooku, and, oh gosh, what else? What do people know him from? I was going to say James Bond films, or Man with the Golden Gun, one film. I guess Count Dooku's and Sauron, of course. You'd know him from Lord of the Rings. Anyway, Insect Warrior wants me to do a video about Kids in the Hall. That is on my radar. There's a bit of a Kids in the Hall discussion, or at least the reference in the video that you're going to watch today. And Kids in the Hall coming back for a new video or new series on Amazon. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I'm going to try to do a video that coincides with that. Edie McClurg, that's her name. Thank you. Frank Peter says, have you seen Beanie and Cecil? I have not. What is that? Oh, Lionel's excited for... Wait. Oh, yeah, Super Train. The Super Train from Singles. Exactly. Not to be confused with the 70s program Super Train. One of the most expensive bombs in television history. Australia was founded by England's criminals and Tasmania was founded for Australia's criminals, says Terrence Seats. Oh, well, okay, there you go. Christopher Lee was in Gremlins. Was he? Oh, of course, you're right. In Gremlins 2. As was, I believe, Robert Picardo, the holographic doctor from Voyager. It's just a weird little crossover there. Betty Davis Eyes song is my only reference. Yeah. That's, I'm trying to think of, like, what young people would know her from. Yeah, Mandy says Betty Davis is Betty Davis. That's enough. Wait, what? That's Count Christopher Lee is Count Dooku or Three-Nip Scaramanga. He's Scaramanga, but what's Three-Nip? Is he three nipples? Is that part of his deal? Seth says, love to share a country. Wait. Oh, I'd love to share a county with you. Share a county with you, says Seth. Haven't been to the gay bars like Diesel or CC's or the Cuff in a year and a half. What's the atmosphere like there? Back to normal? What is normal? Yeah, what is everyone's queer bar situation like right now? Because I'm in a state of conflict. On one hand, I really want to go out and I really want to see people. Last night was monthly fetish night at CC's. I did not go out. Here's the thing: is I saw some friends maybe a couple weeks ago, and then we were like, we're all vaccinated. We're doing our best, like masking if we're like really close together, and like unmasking if there's like fresh air, but being careful. And then, sure enough, a few days later, someone was like, well, I just tested positive. So that's really spooked me and made me think like, well, not time to get together with people yet, but I really would like to go out. Everything's open. People can go out. And like vaccination rate in Seattle is quite high. But still, I feel a sense of responsibility not to. Oh, yeah, Pan-Trans Woman. That's what people might know Betty Davis for. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. Even if they don't know what that's from, they might know that line. Yes, Robert Picardo was hit on by the female gremlin. Okay, I am remembering correctly. Smith says, Sauron does. Oh yeah, wait, it's Saruman, not Sauron. Saruman. Why did he give him such similar names? Sharky. James says Sharky. Who's Sharky? Is Sharky from Lord of the Rings? Oh, yes. There's a character named Sharky? He's gonna bite you. Is he an actual shark? Watch out for Sharky, James says. Joshua Cisco, thank you so much for the tip. Yay! Thank you. Seth says you have to do one on Buddy Cole, if not Kids in the Hall in general. Oh, believe me, I am eager to talk about Buddy Cole. A complicated figure. Oh, gosh, sorry. I injured my shoulder somehow the other day. I think I was playing Beat Saber. Turns out if you injure yourself in virtual reality, you injure yourself in real life. So I was playing Beat Saber, and I think I gestured a little too hard, and I think I give my shoulder just a little bit of a sprain. It's not that bad, but like if I try to move my arm too much, I've got like a little like ow. So I'm trying to rest it. I'm trying to give it a little break. And yet still I'm like, there it is. It's resting on the desk, and hopefully I won't damage myself further. Anyway. Scaramanga had 3 nipples, says Pan-Trans Woman, Man with the Golden Gun. Really? What a weird detail. And how dare they make me think about Christopher Lee's nipples? Pan-Trans Woman says, last gay bar I went to was Faces in Sacramento. What a name for a place. Faces? Okay, what's the weirdest name for a gay bar you've ever seen? There was... I'm trying to think. This wasn't a real bar, actually. I was just thinking, like, because we used to talk, when I was in high school, we used to talk about a gay bar that was called the Manhole Cover, but I don't think that was a real place. However, in Los Angeles, the Sewers of Paris was the name of a gay bar that existed in Los Angeles. The Sewers of Paris. It's the thing that I named my podcast after. And they did actually have a drink called the Manhole Cover. So making real the thing that we used to joke about in high school. But in my brain, the Manhole Cover is the name of a bar. Wait, Saruman is Sharky? Saruman's original name is Sharky? Sharky. Oh boy. You know, sometimes Tolkien really, really hits it out of the park, and other times he's like, Sharky. Is there a way to watch the old Mr. Magoo show, says Insect Warrior? Have you seen Leslie Nielsen on live action movie? Oh gosh. I was trying to connect those two things. I forgot Leslie Nielsen was in the live action Mr. Magoo. I have no idea. I just came across on YouTube. I guess search YouTube. Christopher Lee, who everybody obviously knows from Horror Express with Peter Cushing. Oh, I don't know Horror Express. Eduardo is here. Hello. Hugs from Mexico. Hugs back to you in Mexico. Hello to you. 78 Lord of the Rings. Someone tries to differentiate Sauron and Saruman by giving the latter a different name, but they did it inconsistently, so he's called Saruman and Aruman. Oh, boy. It's like, how can we make this even more complicated? Weirdest name for gay bar, says Terrence, is Dante's Garden. Ooh, Dante's Garden. That's kind of nice. That sounds like a gardening store. Loading Dock, says Miguel. The Loading Dock. I love that. Kyle says the Ripcord in Houston. Is it like Air Force-y? Because that's what you use in a... What do you call this thing? In my head, I'm picturing Mary Poppins with her umbrella. That's not what I mean. A parachute. That's what... Couldn't remember the word parachute. Yeah, ripcord's what you use for a parachute, right? James says Manchester used to have an actual birdcage, but sadly it wasn't a gay bar, just used the logo. Weird. Huh. Police Academy had the of course, the Blue Oyster. Oh, is Blue Oyster supposed to be a really oblique, dirty pun? Oh, on female genitalia. Maybe. You might be right about that. Matthew Strickland cites the Ramrod in Greece. There's also, where was there a Ramrod? There was a Ramrod, I want to say, in San Francisco or Boston at some point.
There's Ram-a-Gay Treasure in Chicago.
Oh, James brings up Ram-a-Gay Treasure in Chicago. There's a bookstore, I think? Or maybe it was like a gift store. Anyway, a gay treasure. Ram : That's a good name for one. Terrence says, my era Hershey Bar. Ooh. Oh, Hershey Bar. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's a lesbian bar called Hershey. Rainbow Cactus, the ambush. Rainbow Cactus. In between in the garage. Ooh, the garage. Frank Peter, not a fan of the Precinct. Or at least the name. Have I been there? I think that opened. Is that the one that's upstairs? Or is that the Red Line? I think that's the one. The Precinct is the one that's upstairs, right? Marty says, gay bars in Johannesburg are not really happening. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Leather fetish. Oh, Kyle says it was a leather fetish bar. But which one? Which one? Fred Max misses the old Manhandler Saloon. There you go. That's a name that's not beating around the bush, so to speak. The Manhandler Saloon. Shark, it was just a nickname in the chapter The Scouring of the Shire. Oh, just a nickname. Okay. Old Shark. Oh, that's right. The Scouring of the Shire. I remember hearing about that from people who know much more about the Lord of the Rings than I do.
It was very filthy.
Yep, James said it was filthy. Famous lesbian bar in D.C. is amusingly called The Phase. I love that. I love that. The Phase. I like that because it also sounds a little sci-fi. So it's like where lesbians from the future all gather. All lesbians are from the future. Lesbians are all ahead of their time. What do I mean? Philadelphia had a lesbian bar called Hepburn's with photos of Kate Hepburn all around. That's great. Of course, because she was in the movie Philadelphia Story. Oh no, that's what Derek says. There's a seafood place in my town that rebranded as the Blue Oyster. Do they play that song from Police Academy over and over? Pan-Trans Woman says Christopher Lee was a real badass. There's a video on YouTube. Yeah, Christopher Lee had an amazing life. Maybe at some point I'll do a video about him. I don't think there's anything queer in his life, but you know what? Who cares? He was just incredible. Miguel says The Other Door in North Hollywood. Oh, I don't know that one. There was The Hanged Man. I don't think that's around. No, that's what the Bullet became. So there was The Hanged Man, the space that's now called the Bullet in North Hollywood. The Hanged Man, anyway, was the title. What a name. Oh, yeah. Emily Cherdos is citing that video, incredible video where he corrected, I think it was Peter Jackson, where they were like saying something about like the noise that someone makes when they're stabbed, when they're shooting Lord of the Rings. And Christopher Lee is like, do you know what it sounds like to stab a man? I do, because Christopher Lee was in the army in World War II. I think a lot of what he's, and who knows how much of this is true, but he's like, I can't talk about what I did. It's classified or something like that. So anyway, that's the life of Christopher Lee. Christopher says in New York City we had the bar no parking because it was next to a sign that said no parking. Well, that'll do it. Oh, Sim says League of Her Own, also DC. What a great... See, these are great gay bar names. Emily Cherto says more cowbell. I don't know if that's in reference to something or if that was the name of a bar. I love that. I love the idea of a gay bar called More Cowbell. The Stud, says Pan Trans Woman, of course, The Stud, longtime neighborhood institution. Oh, and Catface says he put out 2 death metal albums. Yes, I Drank the Blood of the Saxon Men was one of Christopher Lee's death metal songs. Just like, it's one of those guys who's just done everything. That's what Eric says. Have we done an episode on Vincent Price yet? Not yet. Actually, I have been gathering some research. No immediate plans to do a Vincent Price episode, but I've been, just gathering stuff as I find it. Because, bisexual icon. According to his daughter, Vincent Price never publicly came out during his life, but according to his daughter, him and his wife were both sexually complex. Do you imagine that? Oh boy, sorry, it just scrolled. Imagine that. Oh yeah, and that awesome voice. Yeah, the more cowbell. Wait, Emily, I'm imagining Christopher Lee saying more cowbell. Hipcat says there's the mine shaft outside Chicago. Oh, what's mine shaft is your shaft. Pan Trans Woman lived in the same town as Katharine Hepburn, Old Saybrook, Connecticut. Did she really live in Old Saybrook? Well, I'm from Connecticut. I'm familiar with Old Saybrook. I know less about New Saybrook, but I know the Old Saybrook. Yeah, it's like Warrior says, when did Christopher Lee make heavy metal? It was a couple of years ago. It was right before he died. It was one of the later in life projects. Ow! Oh boy! Just tried to adjust my headphones and did my shoulder again. Anyway, so if you're just joining us, here's the plan for today. We're going to be just hanging out and chatting. Oh, we haven't talked about Barney Miller hardly at all. We're going to be hanging out and chatting before the premiere of my new video about the sitcom Barney Miller. Fantastic sitcom from the 70s that had a shocking amount of gay content for a show of its time. Despite the efforts of ABC's censors, they were able to, basically, the people who worked on the show, Barney Miller, were able to team up with some gay activists behind the scenes to defeat the network censors and put some really funny, fantastic, meaningful queer episodes, some beautiful, like funny and deep storylines about gay characters on this show. So we're going to be talking about how exactly they did that and just what a gamble it was to try to make it happen. It could easily have gone south. The people who were making the show risked a lot to put gay characters on TV. And I think you'll find it was worth it. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Barney Miller, sitcoms in the 1970s, and then we're going to hop on over. So anyway, that's going to be happening here on YouTube. And then we're going to hop on over to Twitch to play some Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, for just a bit. Old DOS game of Elvira from the 1980s, late 1980s. Coincided, I believe, James was saying that and I think this timeline checks out. This would have come out around the same time as the movie. Elvira movie. Yeah, it was the year after. So Elvira, Mistress of the Dark was the film that came out in 88 starring Edie McClurg, and then James, I mean, it starred Elvira, sure. But I would say that Edie McClurg is a star in her own right. That having been said, I don't think a lot of people were going to this movie so that they could be like, I just got to see the new Edie McClurg picture. I would have done that. Edie McClurg, if you're not familiar, she's the actress from probably most famous role, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where she's the secretary. God, what a joy. What an absolute treasure. Anyway, so we're going to watch that new video comes out in half an hour over my YouTube channel. So when this stream ends, it should automatically direct you right over to that. And then we're going to play some Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, the PC DOS game from 1989 over on Twitch. And there's links to everything in the description of the live stream in case something doesn't work for you. There's a link to the new video. There's a link to my Twitch. That's the plan. And I wish I could give you more specific times, but we're all in different time zones, which makes things difficult. So at noon my time, noon Pacific time is when my new video premieres, and 12:30 my time is when we're heading over to Twitch. This is a longer video. This one that I did, the Barney Miller video that we're about to watch. Because here's the thing. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, Barney Miller, that's a show for grown-ups. I don't know, boring. But then when I started watching, I was like, wow, this show is fantastic. This is just super well written and very funny. Also, interestingly, some of the people who worked on Barney Miller moved over to Night Court afterwards. And you can kind of see Barney Miller morphing into the Night Court sort of vibe over the course of the run. Like, so Barney Miller was on for 8 years, and it starts off and it looks really grungy and dirty, and the lighting is very interesting. And then by the end, by the time it gets into the early 80s, it's got more of that 80s sitcom washed out sort of look. Like, what is that? Like, it's so easy to spot a sitcom from the 80s by how flat the lighting is. And it looks like Night Court. And I don't mean that in a like an insulting sort of way. It just, has more of a vibe of its era. Pan-trans women like Steve Landesberg on Barney Miller, such a dry wit. They all did it. Like, it was all a very dry sort of witty show. Steve Landesberg famously does a spot on Gregory Peck impression. It's like wild. Somebody just followed on Twitch and I missed whose name it was. It was Lady PLF. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Anyway, yeah, so he was fantastic. Ron Glass, who played Shepard Book, was on Barney Miller. He was fantastic. Hal Linden, the star of Barney Miller, incredible Broadway performer and singer, but didn't really have much opportunity for him to sing on the show, unfortunately. But he's an amazing singer, and it just calls to mind Dixie Carter from Designing Women. Who's the actress who played Dixie? Wait, was it Dixie Carter? Dixie Carter's the actress. She played, what was the character's name? Julia Sugarbaker. So Dixie Carter, who played Julia Sugarbaker on Designing Women, was also a fantastic singer. And she was like, I insist on having a reason to sing every couple episodes. And so the deal that they made with her is that every time she had to do a speech, like every time she had to do a Julia Sugarbaker speech that did not align with the actress's real life politics, because she was actually kind of conservative in real life, she's like, all right, I'll do these speeches, but every time I do one of these super liberal progressive speeches, you have to let me sing in another episode. So that's the deal that they made. Anyway, why was I talking about that? Oh, because we were talking about Broadway singers on sitcoms. It's such a bummer when they cast somebody who's like a great singer on a show where they have no reason to sing. Like, I wish they'd done it more on Golden Girls because, obviously B. Arthur, icon of Broadway stage.
Patti LuPone on Life.
Oh, that's a perfect example. Patti LuPone on Life Goes On. And I just watched this thing from All in the Family with, what was Edith's actress's name? Jean Stapleton. When Jean Stapleton, in the theme song for All in the Family, she has to do this really shrieky, and we knew who we were then. But Jean Stapleton, fabulous singer. So I saw a version of her singing the theme song where she actually was singing well, and she's just got an incredible voice. Anyway. Where am I going here? I don't know. Talking about the cast of Barney Miller. That's what got me on this. Christopher Lee was doing heavy metal back in 98. Oh, I didn't know that, Mr. T-Bone. I hadn't heard about that. I only knew about the more recent ones. Frank Peters says you're like a contra Vito Russo. Thank you. That is very flattering to hear. Really, I mean, if ever there was a person who inspired the work that I do, Vito Russo is, looms large in my mind. Edie McClurg was Mrs. Poole, the neighbor, first in Valerie. Oh, of course, in the Hogan Family with Valerie Harper, Sandy Duncan, and Jason Bateman. Of course, Edie McClurg on what a complicated situation with the show Valerie / the Hogan Family. Not to go into it now, but basically Valerie Harper left the show that was named for her, so they had to rename the show, and then vindictively killed her character off on the show so that she could never come back because she wanted to be paid fairly. Oh, some enthusiasm for Night Court in the chat. There were some queer episodes of Night Court. I've been thinking about doing a Night Court episode at some point. So let me know if that's something that you would be interested in, because there were a few gayish episodes of Night Court. Oh, goodness. Edie McClurg is iconic. I remember her best as Sabrina's witch trash cousin. Oh. So in others, was she on Sabrina? Gosh, she's just one of those characters are actors who is everywhere. You just see her and you're like, oh, her again. It's always a good time whenever you're going to see Edie McClurg. Penn Trans Woman loves Night Court, loved John Larroquette. Seems like he plays kind of a jerk on the show. John Larroquette actually seems like a real good guy in real life. I don't know. That's based on very little information, but Seems like that's the case. Frank Peters says Max Gale was cute. Oh, Max Gale played Detective Wojciechowicz on, aka Wojo, on Barney Miller. Real funny guy, real funny character. His shtick on the show is like, he's the dummy. He's like the sweethearted, good-natured, muscly jock himbo character. Apparently, I was watching an interview about him. He was like the smartest guy on the set. That's according to the, I think the camera guy, or the lighting, or whatever, the cinematographer, if you can call him that, on Barney Miller. Hal Linden and Harry Morgan started a companion show to Murder, She Wrote. What? About a retired magician who solves murders called Black's Magic? I've never heard of that, Mr. T-Bone. Really? How is it a companion show? Is it a spinoff from Murder, She Wrote starring Hal Linden? I've never heard of that. That's incredible. Terrence says, if they did a reboot of the Golden Girls, which older actresses would you cast? Oh, that's such a good question. I like to play this game with like actors, like who would you cast in a modern version? I thought about this with the Golden Girls a lot. And I like to think about like unexpected diverse casting there. So if you can find like people from marginalized groups to cast, even better. Extra points for that. Dixie Carter's married to Hal Holbrook? Now we're diving into the obscure like TV trivia stuff. Oh yeah, McReese, that's a great example. Jerry Orbach from Law and Order. You put Jerry Orbach on a TV show that will never have a reason for him to sing? Come on. Anyway, he loved Night Court as a kid. That's another one that passed me by. For some reason, I just never watched it until I was more grown up. Terrence says they should do a gay male version of the Golden Girls. That's like always in the works. Someone's always talking about doing that, and it never happens. Yeah, Nick Crochet Tiger. Night Court had a transgender episode. Dan's best buddy from the army is now a transgender woman married to a straight man. Was that? Yeah, there's a Night Court one, and I want to say there's a WKRP episode with the trans woman. And I think I'm thinking of one when I'm thinking of the other. Or I might be thinking of the Jeffersons. Anyway, yes. Mandy Sue also wants a Dog Day Afternoon video. All right. I mean, that is on the list. I just have to find a way to, I want to make sure that there is something interesting to point out about these things. I have to find a good angle. So it's not just a video about like, this exists. Oh, Magic Mike, you're 100% correct. Jack Hay Harry. Jack Hay Harry is really, anyway, here's the challenge. Who would Jack Hay be in the Golden Girls? I mean, she'd be Blanche, right? Because her characters are often very sexually liberated, let's say. Like Sandra. Like, imagine Sandra from 227 growing up to be Blanche from Golden Girls. Perfect. Suddenly, Steve, Law and Order turned into Cop Rock so gradually. I got to make a note to myself because I wanted to talk about Cop Rock in one of my Patreon bonus videos. And I keep thinking like, oh yeah, I got to do that. And then I forget to write it down. So I'm writing it down right now. Thank you for reminding me of Cop Rock. All right, so if you want to know more about Cop Rock, the musical cop show from the 90s, go subscribe to me over on Patreon. I'm going to put out a bonus video about that next week. But I have a video up today, a brand new video, bonus video on Patreon today. If you want to know, let's see, what have I got in there? I talk a little bit about Beverly LaSalle, a little bit about Murder, She Wrote, a little bit about some more. I go deeper on a Barney Miller story, and we also talk about Starstruck, an incredible 1979 sci-fi flop. It was a made-for-TV movie starring one of the gay husbands from Mary Hartman, as the owner of a saloon in space. I have only just become aware of the show, and it's amazing. It looks terrible, but it's one of those terribles that's like, I can't look away from this. Yeah, Joshua Sisko says Jory Arbach was a singer. He was. He's in so many things. 42nd Street is one of his most famous roles. He was Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast. It's like Odo. Rene Auberjonois. I've got some bonus videos about him over on Patreon. Rene Auberjonois, Odo from DS9 was he got a Tony in '79 for the Coco Chanel musical. He was in Dance of the Vampires. I have a bonus video about that on Patreon. Dance of the Vampires, the vampire musical by music by Jim Steinman. Yeah, so like it's another example. Like he cast this incredible singer on a show. Like when is Odo ever going to have a reason to sing? Yeah, Mandy says they had a British remake of Golden Girls. It was awful. There's a ton of Golden Girls in different countries. It's like Sesame Street where they localize it to the country. Conversely, they did a Are You Being Served and Faulty Towers for the US. That's just awful. Just awful. Never works. I'm not going to say never. Seldom works when they're like, hey, this was a success in one country. Let's try it in another. Sometimes yes, mostly no. Suddenly Steve says, this is the first time anyone has ever said, thank you for reminding me of Cop Rock. That's the kind of household I run, where someone is grateful for the reminder of Cop Rock. Give me 1 second. I gotta make a noise with my nose because something has happened in Seattle to start allergy season. I just cut myself off there. Here we go. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Oh, sorry about that. It's both James and I have had a lot of sneezing and a lot of congestion. Oh, you're right, Escher. Renee Aubergenois was the voice of the skeleton, The Last Unicorn. Cannot recommend that episode highly enough. All right, here's how I'm going to connect Renee Aubergenois and The Last Unicorn to Barney Miller. Get ready for this. So Renee Aubergenois, Odo, of course, he was on. Was he on? I think he was on Shining Time Station. The voice of the drunk skeleton in The Last Unicorn. The Last Unicorn, written by Peter S. Beagle. Fantastic sci-fi and fantasy writer, Peter Beagle. Peter Beagle also occasionally wrote for Star Trek, The Next Generation. He wrote the episode where Sarek comes back to visit the Enterprise. So Peter Beagle wrote that episode, which I can't remember the name of, but he wrote it, and it stars an actress as Sarek's wife, Perrin. The actress who plays Perrin in that episode played the ex-wife of one of the gay characters on Barney Miller in 1980 when they appeared in, what episode was that? That was The Child Stealers, which I think was 1980. 1980, I think that episode appeared. Yeah, 1980. Anyway, so that is how I'm connecting Odo to Barney Miller. You're right. The Office, great example of a show that worked in the U.S., worked in England first, then worked in the U.S. because it was so radically changed. The British Office and the American Office, so completely different. Basically, the British one is bleak and gets a lot of its humor from a very British style of like, well, we're doomed. And the U.S. one is, I think, an optimistic show. To a fault, I would say, by the end. Oh, yeah, Joanna Jury Arbach starred in Broadway cast of Promises, Promises. I love that show. The original off-Broadway cast of Fantastics. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, Catface. We're in sneezing season. That's exactly what it is. That's what Derek says. I also get allergies in late September. I don't know why there aren't any flowers. I fear it may be mold. Like, I'm doing what I can to try to, like, keep the bathroom ceiling from growing mildew, and we've got some damp rid to absorb moisture in the bedroom. But I'm afraid, like, Seattle is just a moldy city. I'm afraid that might be what's making me feel like. Forstein says, "OMG, this TV trivia, what a great stream." Yeah, welcome to my life. Pan-Trans Woman says Faulty Towers is only great in its original form. I agree with that. There's just no hope of translating that one. But I will say the American version of Faulty Towers, amazingly, stars B. Arthur. So there she is coming back once again on this stream. B. Arthur as, like, if you're going to cast an American version of John Cleese, I guess B. Arthur is the closest you can get. Like, who is more John Cleese? What American actor is more John Cleese than B. Arthur? There's a challenge for you. Oh, you're right about that. Suddenly, Steve, I forgot about that one. All in the Family was originally a British show. Yeah, Till Death Do Us Part, I believe was the name. Totally forgot about that. Again, really changed for American audiences. Very different show when it was brought to the U.S. Terrence Heesh says, my gay male cast for The Golden Guys. Nathan Lane is Rose. Yeah, okay, sure. Leslie Jordan is Sophia. Yes, absolutely. Andre Leon Talley. Oh, yeah, as Blanche. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Andre Leon Talley as Blanche. I believe he was on a show right when Madeline Kahn passed away. They were both on a show together, I believe. Oh, no. He was a guest on a gay episode of that show with Madeline Kahn. So there's a connection for you. And I haven't picked a Dorothy yet, a gay father and son twist casting. Ooh, I feel like Doogie Howser, what's his name? Neil Patrick Harris would find his way onto that show in some form. Christopher says, of course, we have Wilson Cruz and Anthony Rapp from Rent together on Star Trek Discovery. We certainly do. Hello, I'm an owl Nick. Thank you for popping by. Good to see you. Forstein says, mold outside with leaves. And yeah, that might be it. That might be it. Oh, he says Renee Auberginois from Benson, of course. Of course. Sybil was inspired by Absolutely Fabulous? That is astounding. I am not entirely sure I see it. I guess I like, in that there are two friends who were women? Like, is that, to what extent was it inspired? Oh no, John Cleese is also a major turf? Well, all right. Nice while it lasted. And suddenly Steve remembers Renee Auberginois. He's in the MASH movie? I've never seen the MASH movie. Renee played the priest Dago Red, the basis for Father Mulcahy? Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. Well, there we go. What it like a great I know there's a great cast in the MASH film, and it hasn't made it onto my list yet. I mean, it's on my list to watch. It hasn't made it on my list of I have watched. Let's see. Okay, so we've got about just a couple minutes before my new video premieres. So in case you're just joining, the plan is we're going to stick around here for another seven or so minutes. Then we're going to head over to my new video premiere, which is all about Barney Miller and gay couples appearing on that show. And then once that's done, that's about a half-hour long video, a long one this week. And once that's done, we're going to jump on over to Twitch to play a little Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So that is the plan. And there's links to everything in the description for this live stream. So, yeah, that is what we are up to. John Fish says, will you be doing anything on Tommy Kirk? I don't know who that is. GA says there's one more version before B. Arthur's Faulty Towers. Was there? I didn't know about that one. Gene Vital saw Renee on Broadway in Big River. Oh, I don't know that show. What is Big River? Oh, okay. Actually, now I'm starting to see it. Mario Moominshines. Christine Baranski equals Patsy Stone. Okay. That's all you had to say, really, to open my eyes. Lionel says, it isn't particularly gay, but you need to see the MASH movie. I know. There's so many movies. It's not as bad as it used to be, but maybe like 10 or so years ago, there was like a long list of movies I just never seen. Like I'd never seen the Terminator films. Like cultural touchstones that I had just somehow never actually seen. The Godfather movies, I'd never seen the Godfather movies. Like stuff that you just like, if you're going to talk about entertainment and pop culture, I'm not like one of those believers in like, oh, you must see. There's a list of movies that everyone has to see because everyone's tastes are different. But if you're going to be a pop culture person, you should probably see the Terminator films. And I just hadn't. So finally got those. The Alien movies, like I'd never seen those. And MASH is just one of those holdovers. Like it's a film that I know I should see, just haven't yet. Oh, Insect Warrior says, what are your favorite Halloween movies, gay or not? Gosh, that's a tough question. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is on my mind because it is the gay Nightmare on Elm Street, starring Mark. Ooh, what's his name? I forget the actor's name. Mark something. It's one of the very few horror films that instead of having a final girl has a final boy. Really, really great movie. Does some interesting things with homo-social relationships. You haven't seen the Terminator? No, I have now. Nick Crochet Tiger. I have seen them now. But there until a couple years ago, I just had never seen them. Hank has never seen. Oh, hadn't seen the Jurassic Park movies until your boyfriend showed you. Seen all the sequels. Oh no, but he hadn't seen the originals, or the original. Gia says was a pilot Betty White. Betty White on a Faulty Towers version. Gee, as the owner of the hotel, or is the Polly character, or who? Who did Betty White play? Mark Patton, thank you. That's his name, Terrence. I like the Terminator TV series better than the movies. I don't think I've ever seen that. I did try to watch the Highlander TV series. It's not bad. Not bad. Old Yeller. Oh, yeah, Tommy Kirk. Oh, that's Disney fired him when he was out. Yeah, I remember reading about that story. Yes. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the Terminator TV show. I might not even have known that existed. Thinking back to my memory of what was on TV at that time. And GA is talking about the Betty White Faulty Towers, I think, saying 1978. But that is not when the Terminator films were. That's what I was like, what year would that have been? And then your comment with 1978 popped up, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. Did you see the trans I-Man episode of Miami? Oh, the trans man episode of Miami Vice? Is that the one with Charles, not Charles Pierce, Charles Ludlam? I know there's a Charles Ludlam episode of Miami Vice. And also, weirdly, Penn Jillette. But I have not seen the full thing. I haven't seen the full episode. Oh, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Okay. I do remember that. That was like 2005-ish. Okay, yes. Forgotten that was a thing. Oh, wow, GA, and Harvey Korman was on it? Harvey Korman? Okay, I can see Harvey Korman as Basil Fawlty. I can see that. Different sort of interpretation of the character. Here's the thing is, Harvey Korman is often really swinging for the bleachers with his comedy, and I think it probably works better live than on screen. That's my feeling about Harvey Korman. I think he's great in Blazing Saddles, but often I feel like I'm getting a lot on from Harvey Korman. Perhaps more, my cup floweth over with Harvey Korman's comedy. Oh no, Iman the Supermodel. Oh. So no, I didn't know anything about that. Was that in the redo of Miami Vice or the original? Terminator show ran from 2007 to 2009. Super overshadowed by Salvation. Nobody cared about Salvation once it came out. Yep. All right. Unholy Triforce was addicted to the Highlander TV show because Adrian Paul showed his bare butt a lot in the series. Oh, well. All right. Maybe that bumps it up on my list a little bit. I don't know. You can see butts anywhere. I don't know why I'm excited about that one in particular. Anyway, we're just about at time for the premiere of my new Barney Miller video. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap up this stream, and then we're going to hop on over. Should redirect you automatically. In case it doesn't, there's a link in the description. But we're going to wrap up this stream. Should automatically send you, YouTube should send you to the premiere, which will start in just a few minutes. I've got a new countdown video for this one, so I hope you enjoy that. And then once that's over, we're going to jump on over to Twitch, and we're going to play a little Elvira, Mistress of the Dark PC game. Nini L, hello, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to have you here. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, so that's the plan. We're going to wrap up this stream, hop on over to my new YouTube video, then we're going to hop on over to Twitch. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining. We are going to, let's get the music going here. Going to wrap this one up, and I'll see you in just a few minutes and the premiere of my new video. I'm dragging this out because as always, I can't remember how to end the stream. There we go.